Musicians Institute Guitarcraft Program, sponsor of Fox 17 Rock and Review.
Oh, yeah.
Fox 17 Rock and Review with the incomparable Tommy Emmanuel, certified guitar player.
Well,
And, you know, one of the few, and it's, Tommy, it's always so great to have you on the show.
Thank you, brother.
I think most people know, how many awards you've won and everything else, but to me, particularly in the last year or so, we were talking earlier on the news, you've been on so many magazines, Guitar Player magazine, everything in 2017.
I really appreciate that. I mean, any artist who doesn't appreciate that kind of thing is crazy, because it's so hard to get that kind of support out there, and you really have to have the people who believe in you and who really want to get your name and your image out there, but most importantly, get your message out there.
And you and I have talked too, Tommy, and obviously with your close friendship with Chet Atkins and everything, you have done so much for guitar music.
I'm still working on it, like everybody else,
No, but I mean, but even from, your early days in Australia and playing music with your brother and everything, you've really, now you go all over the world.
Yeah, I'm living the dream, This was my dream when I was a kid. I was already on tour. By the time I was 6 years old, I was already playing shows with my family.
And on television back then.
Yeah. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew that that's what I wanted to do, But I would lay there in the back seat of the car dreaming about playing concerts and dreaming about playing around the world. And, it just took a long time to get there, because there's no sort of path that you can follow and say this is going to work.
Right.
You have to try so many different things, and you have to take a lot of risk. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here today in Nashville, Tennessee, one of my favorite cities, if I hadn't risked everything so many times.
Right.
And there were times when I was young, living in the city and trying to get experience, that I made the decision: do I have new strings or do I eat?
Right.
And I always survived on the smell of an oily rag, but I had good sounding strings.
I think you made the right choice. Well, and seeing you in concert, the last time you played the Ryman, and you're playing the Ryman, this Saturday as well, February 17th. But it's like, it was just so amazing, Tommy. You brought out Steve Wariner and you brought out Dr. John Knowles, and it's like, it was just, it was very powerful.
It was also the first time that the three CGPs had been on stage together.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, and just like this previous year, we played together to induct Jerry Reed into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So that was a special event. We played The Claw. And,
oh, my goodness.
A great Jerry Reed piece.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. But it's like, it was so incredible seeing you at the Ryman then, and I can't wait to see you at the Ryman this Saturday as well.
The Mother Church is such an amazing place to play, and every time I'm there, I go around and look at every photo and go into every dressing room and just know who walked through here and who started here.
Right.
Well,
and when you're on stage too, Tommy, it's like you're on fire.
Yeah.
It's like, just why you
well,
really...
you better be.
You bring the guitar to life, and I mean, with all the pops and hits and playing and fingerstyle you do, it's... not only is it incredible, a feast for the ears, but it's a feast for the eyes too.
Right. Well, you're just watching someone trying their heart out and doing what they're born to do. It's
doing what you love.
That's right. I love playing for people. I'm not out there to try and impress musicians. I'm out there to play for the people and make them forget everything they know. Just be in the moment, and that's what music can do. It transports you.
Well, and you've had so many great albums over the years, and I own them all, including the Christmas
album.
album.
Isn't it, ladies and gentlemen?
It's the truth. But and the Christmas album. I was listening to your Christmas album around the holidays.
Yeah.
But you've got this brand new album that just came out in January, Accomplice One, and there we've got a shot of it, Tommy, and I love the photo on the front, and obviously the picture of you on the back, but. The artist you have on here, this, and I was telling you earlier, this is probably the most radio-friendly album you've ever done.
Well, that's the idea, trying to get music that will inspire people and that hopefully radio will play. And it's not a giant production, it's a simple production. Everything's acoustic, and you know, all the artists who sang and played with me, it was all live in the studio.
Well, and you had, you know, Mark Knopfler, Susie Boggess, you had Jason Isbell, J.D. Simo,
Yorma, absolutely. some great
It's
people.
just, you know,
Ricky
just looking
Skaggs
at
came in.
Rodney Crowell.
Yeah. Well, how Rodney happened on this album was he rang my management about getting me to play on his album, which I did. Rodney has a new album, and I played on the first track called East Houston Blues.
Oh, okay.
And when we worked together, we just hit it off, you know. And I said, well, I'll play on your album. How about you sing on mine? And so we kind of did a deal like that, you know. And Rodney brought the song to me. You know, I'm looking forward to the past.
Oh, and I love
and
it.
I just
love
thought
that
it was
song.
a great song. His lyrics are so fabulous. And he works like me. It's like, let's sit down in front of the mics, play and sing live. That's it, you know. And if we can't get it like that, then we can't get it.
Well, you know, and I would like to bring up to our viewers, too, that you sing more on this album as well. It's like, you know, this is probably the most that I've heard you sing, Tommy.
Well, I didn't want to pass up the opportunity of singing with some of my favorite singers, Jason Isbell,
oh my gosh,
Ricky Skaggs, Mark Knopfler.
Right.
You know? Mark and I, you know, when I contacted Mark about playing on my album, I thought he might say no because he doesn't do that kind of thing. But he said, yeah, but it has to be one of my songs, he says. And I said, well, I'm glad because I like everything.
Right.
That you've ever done. So
you know, and there's not a bad track on the album, although my personal favorites are probably the unique take on Borderline.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which you know, at
That's
first
a Madonna song,
I really had to think about who did it originally.
Yeah.
Because you guys did it so different. You know, and with the fiddle and everything in there, and then also your take on Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
Dock of the Bay. I suggested that to J.D. Simo because of the way he sings. I love that rawness in his voice. And he never pushes. He never sounds like he's over singing. It's always like it just pours out of him. And
you guys, though, when you're doing that song and when our viewers listen to it and buy the album, you guys sound like you're just like hanging out at your house.
Exactly.
That's the way it sounds.
That's the whole idea.
You're like joking each other and playing the slide guitar. And
and you'll hear Yorma say, "You're a badass cat, man."
and that's somebody that knows you well.
That's typical Yorma. What a guy.
Well, now I want to bring up also, besides the brand new album, just came out this last month, and playing the Ryman this Saturday, you've also got guitar workshops. Let's see, you got Scotland, Memphis, and Australia.
And Australia, yeah. They're all completely different too. The one in Scotland is in a castle. And so people will be up in the Highlands, you know. Bring your kilts and have a good time. You don't have to adhere to the, you know, nothing worn under the kilt.
Right.
Because if it's cold, then, you know, you got to cover up. But the one in Scotland will be with Frank Vignola and Richard Smith.
I saw that.
And John Knowles.
And that was going to be in May, correct?
That's May, yeah. The one in Memphis is in July. And I'm
that's a driving distance to a lot of the Nashville tours.
Exactly. In my BMW, I can get to Nashville in 3 hours. Shit. Anyway.
And then you've got the other one in Australia.
Yeah, the other one it's at a place called the Dandenongs, which is outside of Melbourne, and it's a beautiful kind of country retreat.
Wow.
And Richard Smith will be with me on that camp, as well as
amazing.
Michael Fix, who is a great Australian guitar player, was my student in the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were both like 5 and 6 about that.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And try 20 years before that.
But for people that want to get involved with your guitar camps and everything, and your retreat in Australia, go to your webpage.
The website, tommyemmanuel.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And I also wanted to say that in Memphis, Steve Cropper's coming down to talk to us about recording on all the old Stax records.
Colonel.
Yeah, exactly. And also Jerry Douglas is going to come down and jam with me one night there and talk about his arrangement skills and stuff like that.
Now, I also wanted to bring up, you know, with your show at the Ryman and with your other upcoming tours, and you just had a tour with J.D. Simo in January, that you might have some of the guests that are on your album
at the
appearing
Ryman
with
show.
you at different shows,
different
and
shows.
concerts.
JD did the earlier tour, then Rodney Crowell did this February tour, and then in April I have some dates here in America, and Susie Boggess and Amanda Shires will be doing some of those dates. There's also another guy, I'm trying to think of his name, but have you ever seen that movie, The Accountant?
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Ben Affleck.
Right, great movie.
At the end of the movie, when he's driving away in that old with his truck and the trailer behind him,
right?
There's a song called "Something to Leave Behind."
Yeah,
the guy who sang that is on the shows with me as well. Yeah.
How amazing! Well, I just want to tell viewers, pick up a copy of Accomplice One. It's an amazing album. I think you're going to hear this a lot on the radio, and obviously when you buy your ticket to go see Tommy live. This weekend or anytime, you're going to hear some of these great new songs. Although I'm a fan of a lot of your older songs too, Tommy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But you've definitely the guests
everything old is new again.
So it's just great stuff. And also, if you're interested in signing up for one of Tommy's guitar shops, because I think that's another great thing you do, Tommy, is that you give back to the guitar world, you give back to fans to help them learn to be better guitarists. And I think we all want to be better guitarists.
Well, that's the key, isn't it? Get up every day and try to be better than you were yesterday.
Well, I think you always do
it. And as the Duke, John Wayne, said, tomorrow comes each night, and when it does, it hopes that we've learned from yesterday.
Well, I'll tell you what, after your 2017, I don't know how you're going to top this with 2018, but if anybody can do it, it's you.
I'm going to have to, and that's all there is about it.
The one and only Tommy Emmanuel. Pick up a copy of the new album. Be sure and see him in concert. And if you're a student of guitar like myself, check out his camps on his website, too. Thanks for watching the Rockin' Review.
Rockin' Review.
Musicians Institute Guitarcraft Program, sponsor of Fox 17 Rock and Review.